Welcome back to Flick Favorites. I'm going to explain an action, crime, thriller film from 2009, titled Harry Brown. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. An elderly guy with gray hair stands in front of the window at the start of the film and casually looks downward. A group of hooligans is wreaking havoc on the autos in the meanwhile. When the owner of the automobile arrives to investigate, he is brutally attacked. The owner eventually passes out and ceases breathing. Also, the thugs spend a considerable amount of time blocking the pedestrian crossing. Dealing in illegal goods, trafficking in human beings, murders, and robberies occur here. Locals simply go about their daily lives without complaining. The old guy is compelled to see these horrible events unfold as he is forced to observe them. It's all because he promised his wife many years ago that he would remain out of harm's path and live out the rest of his days in peace once he put off his military uniform. Senior Officer Harry Brown served in the Royal Marines. He resigned from the army with a low pension and now lives alone in an apartment complex close to the slums. He travels by foot to the hospital each day to visit his ailing wife. Harry continues to visit his wife every day even though she is only partially vegetarian. Later, he meets up with his lifelong friend Leonard in a local pub to drink, chat, and play chess. Harry gets a call from the hospital that evening. He is told that his wife is in critical condition. In the pouring rain, Harry gets up and heads for the hospital. He needs to cross the sidewalk, but he is reluctant to do so for fear of coming across one of the hooligans. As a result, he decides to go in a different direction. He arrives at the hospital but misses seeing his wife for the final time. He then tears in regret. He sobs as he buries his wife the next day. He is now limited to hanging out with Leonard. The two guys continue to play chess every day at the bar. Leonard warns him to stay away from Sid, the bar owner, since he deals in both women and guns. The two are unsure of whether this is accurate or not, though. They then use the restroom together after that. Leonard expresses his dread after being slapped and having trash put into his mail bag by the hooligans. He has had enough, and he takes out a cutlass from his coat pocket. When Harry sees this, he attempts to stop his buddy and offers to go with him to the police station. Leonard counters that he has previously informed the police and that they only take action when someone is murdered. He does a U-turn and leaves the bar. Someone lights a mound of plastic trash on fire outside Leonard's house late at night. Smoke begins to swiftly fill the room, waking him up. He battles to stand up and douses the flames. He rushes to the door while exhaling forcefully. Detective Inspector Alice Frampton and her partner visit Harry's home the following day to deliver the dreadful news. Leonard died on the sidewalk last night, but the identity of the attacker is unknown, and the police are investigating. Harry was in such much anguish that he lost all vocal control. He feels terrible about not being able to help his friend. However, Detective Frampton helped the police find the 4 Leonard murder suspects. One of them, Noel, sets up his uncle's hiring of a lawyer. They also provide the same response when questioned by the police. They caution them to walk carefully while simultaneously insulting the 2 police officers. The hooligans are freed due to a lack of proof. Harry becomes more alone than ever in the meanwhile because he has no one to chat or have a drink with. He orders a few more beers at the bar, discouraged. He takes his wallet out and pays for his beverage. Unbeknownst to him, a drug addict is staring at him. He takes the river path home. He suddenly reaches beneath the bridge, and a guy with a knife comes out of the shadows, demanding that he give him his money. Harry is startled and grabs the robber's other hand while aiming the knife at his chest from behind. The thief shortly passes away after collapsing. Harry checks to make sure no one spotted him before leaving. The next morning, Frampton pays him another visit and provides him with an update on Leonard's situation after identifying Harry's military status from his picture and Marine Corps awards. She tells him that an old army knife was found at the crime scene by the detectives. It was covered with fingerprints and fabric remnants from Leonard's clothing. He asserts that he is aware of the knife and that Leonard used it to defend himself since the cops were powerless to intervene. She adds, however, that the defense attorney would contend that Leonard's assassin acted in self-defense. Therefore, manslaughter rather than murder would be the accusation brought against the murderer. She encouraged him to get ready for the trial's verdict. She is expelled from the residence after Harry becomes furious. After that, he grabs a trinket and a military knife that his wife had given him from his hoard. He starts planning his retaliation and goes to their residence late at night with a drug addict. He claims that the pigeons that have been squawking on his roof have prompted him to consider purchasing a pistol. He is taken into the courtyard by them. Weeds have taken over the yard. It appears to be a little plantation that is self-sufficient. Harry steps inside the dingy, gloomy space. A woman who had been injected with something is sitting on the couch. On the screen, he also sees a footage of her assault. In a fit of anger, he gets his gun, carefully loads it, and when they are not looking, assaults them with the knife and the gun. Then, he drives the woman's vehicle to a parking spot. He finds a barrel of gasoline, and sets fire to the entire building. In the vehicle, Harry takes the woman to the hospital while stuffing a large amount of cash inside her clothing. He gives a loud honk before vanishing into the darkness. After the woman receives care, the paramedics find a large amount of cash hidden under her clothing. Frampton visits the hospital with one of her co-workers. Because typical criminals wouldn't shoot a woman and then transport her to the hospital, the woman has a suspicion that something is amiss. After emptying the contents of the bag into the contribution box, Harry walks over to the church. After that, he visits the cemetery to say goodbye to his family. He's ready to start his retaliation strategy right now. He watches the goons downstairs as he gazes out the window late at night. Finally, a chance to murder a dealer arises for him. He takes one of the guys upstairs to question him after the killing. Harry shouts at him while grabbing a leather pipe. The thug eventually talks about what had transpired. He asserts that Leonard used a cutlass to assault them that evening, but he was defeated by them. Leonard was killed by a man named Noel with his own army knife. The guy then turns over the footage he had taken. They spat on Leonard after stabbing him with the knife. Harry is enraged at Leonard's manner of death. He binds the criminal and leads him out onto the street like a dog. Noel and another thug got into a terrible predicament somewhere else. The shackled thug is slain by his two horrified companions during a gunfight. Soon after that, Harry kills yet another criminal. On the other side, Noel succeeds in escaping. Harry finds it difficult to follow him and soon runs out of energy. Emphysematous, he collapses on the ground. He discharges his gun into the river before falling unconscious. Later, he is found and taken to the hospital. To visit him, Frampton shows up at the hospital. The doctor claims he is having trouble breathing and is unable to respond to police inquiries. Frampton, though, notices the scent of gunpowder on his clothing. She starts to mistrust Harry because she believes the two dead lads were involved in Leonard's slaying. She goes back to the police station and shares her opinions and suspicions with the chief. She requests that the gunpowder in Harry's clothing be checked, but the police chief doesn't believe that the elderly man could have murdered numerous people at once. The chief is not interested in her ideas given the recent spate of disturbances in the city. Even more, he orders her to give up the Leonard case. The city's rebellions are a fight for the police. Crowds start throwing rocks and gasoline bombs at the cops, gradually turning the situation into a riot. Additionally, they damage and burn automobiles. The cops, on the other hand, just form a shielded line as a passive response. Harry awakens gradually in the hospital room in the meanwhile. He removes the tubes while standing up. He swiftly leaves the hospital despite the doctor's orders since Leonard's retribution has not yet been exacted. Contrarily, Frampton learns that Harry had left the hospital without authorization. She and her companion, Hicock, race to the riot area since she is positive that he would pursue Noel. As the unrest worsens, Frampton and her companion are assaulted as they reach the area. Then a major auto accident occurs. Hicock suffers severe injuries after taking a blow to the head. The two investigators are confined inside the car. Happily, Harry shows up just in time. He assists the investigators before going to Sid's bar. Sid approaches them and declares that he will call the ambulance before leaving. Frampton discovers the revolver on Harry's belt inside the bar, confirming her suspicions. Harry acknowledges that she is telling the truth at this point and declares that because these cretins have made murdering people a sport, he must teach them a lesson. She does, however, warn him that because Sid is Noel's uncle, he would be killed if he kills Noel. Harry is caught off guard. It would appear that Leonard was correct when he claimed that Sid had only ever done bad things in his life. Later, when Harry visits Sid armed with a weapon, he is shocked to see Noel hidden there. Sid informs Harry that Noel did not kill Leonard since he is aware of what transpired. Harry, however, gives him the phone that has the footage and states that the thugs killed Leonard and recorded the entire incident on Noel's phone. When he begins to feel lightheaded, Sid approaches and appears concerned about him. He cautiously grabs Harry's gun, but as soon as he does, he adopts a different mindset and punches Harry in the stomach. Frampton calls for assistance as soon as she hears the disturbance outside the pub. Unexpectedly, Noel approaches and assaults her. Harry is taken outside by Sid, who also beats him there. After that, Sid reprimands Noel for recording a murder, and he then plans to toss Harry and the detectives into the street to make it appear as though they perished in the commotion. They must first kill them, so Sid applies pressure on Hicock's lips and nose until his breathing ceases. Then Noel makes a similar attempt with Frampton. Fortunately, Harry awakens, pulls the revolver from his sock, and shoots Noel, causing him to pass away. As soon as Sid observes this, he shoots Harry in the shoulder before approaching and shooting him in the head. Harry instructs him to take the shot without any fear. As soon as Sid spots two red dots on his chest, the snipers shoot him to death. We learn that the city's drug cartel and malevolent forces were entirely destroyed by the police. During the press conference, a reporter mentions that it has been claimed that the former naval captain is a vigilante who is responsible for several killings in the unrest-ridden region. The police head, however, dispels the myth and declares that Frampton and Hicock will get medals. Harry strolls through a lovely grass. The graffiti-covered walkway has been freshly painted. Harry gives it a quick glance before softly making his way to the sidewalk and underpass, which are at last safe and quiet. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to stay updated on future videos. Leave a like to support the channel.